list. Oracles and Four Swords would probably come right after it. Like after, so Minish Cap and Link Between Worlds are 6 and 7. And then after that is like some kind of weird mix of Link to the Past, Oracles, um, Skyward Sword, Link's Awakening. I think Link's Awakening might be the top of those of that pile. And then I don't know, man. There's a lot of Zelda games. Oh, FSA is definitely in there. The biggest time save in the run now is twinrova. Thanks, Daniel. Four Swords GBA is probably in the bottom few. Four Swords GBA honestly might be the literal worst, the literal bottom tier. Not Four Swords Adventure though. Four Swords Adventure is in that like 7 to 10 group. I mean, DX is just a straight up upgrade, Andrew.
Hello.
I don't see any reason to consider them separate. Seasons or ages. I initially liked ages more. And then over time I started liking seasons more. I don't know. I think I'd probably still pick ages. Video games probably only if I have bomb issues. If my bomb count is good, I don't think I'd go for it. I mean, OT 3D, if you're not counting speedruns, is a straight up upgrade. Unless you consider the controls. Like, you might argue the controls are worse, but other than that, yeah, OT is a straight up upgrade. Or OT 3D is a straight up upgrade. For non-speedrunning purposes. I've been playing this game for about 10 years. At least in the speedrunning community for about 10 years. But I first played it 14 years ago. 15 years ago. Oracle of Ages and Seasons are not like Pokemon Red and Blue, where they're just like minor differences. They're completely different games. So you'd really want to play both. If you really only could play one, then I feel like I would suggest Ages overall. But they are completely different games. No, the dungeons are not the same. The overworld is completely different. The dungeons are completely different. The bosses are completely different. The items are... There's some differences in the items, but they're like... I think they're like 75% the same items. So yeah, the only the similarities are like the game engine, most of the items or some of the items, and some of the mechanics and stuff. But yeah, they are complete. They're like it's like OOT and MM. They're completely different. Or maybe OOT and TP would be a better way to put it. Because they're both like, 8 dungeons, uh, mechanic that changes the overworld. But yeah, completely different games. Really? Yeah, Skyward Sword is, seems like I'll love it or hate it. Except me, because I think it's okay. I mean, I think Skyward Sword does a lot of things good. I think the dungeons are really good. The items, for the most part, are pretty good. Like, the combat, if you're not stupid, if you understand how the motion controls work, is good. It's just there's, like, too much between dungeon padding, too much hand-holding and linearity. Like, they really force the linearity. And there's, like, no overworld. Or the sky overworld is not good. And then the ground areas are cool, but not enough. Really? What if you want to go fast? Then you probably don't want to play Skyward Sword. Yeah, Breath of the Wild really has very little like underground stuff and caves and stuff. I kind of miss that. I kind of did wish the game had more caves and stuff like that. Yeah, when I first realized that Breath of the Wild had like basically no loading screens, it was pretty cool. There are basically no loading screens aside from like, entering, exiting a shrine and warping. Like you could go into a house and not have a loading screen. That's pretty neat. Yeah, my thing with the dungeons is I think they were really good concepts. I think it's just I, they were really small and short because of the concepts. I think they were probably afraid of making it too big and complex, and that would make the dungeons really hard. And so they had to make them like relatively small. Like I like that they experimented with the concepts they did though. It was at least interesting. I don't know if I would say they were the least memorable dungeons. I thought they were pretty memorable. Although I do wish the game had more in terms of dungeons. It's kind of weird like having, you have these shrines that are basically like, single rooms of what would be a dungeon. And then the main dungeons are all really small. And there's 4 of them. I think it would have been cool if they like had like 4 or 5 like really big shrines that were essentially, regular old Zelda dungeons. Maybe just like with shrine aesthetics or whatever. And just have these like normal sized dungeons, but they're just shrines. And then maybe you get like 4 spirit, like maybe it gives you either 4 spirit orbs or a full heart container or a full stamina vessel. Like still the same concept of shrines, just like combine them all into one so it feels like a full dungeon. Throw a bunch of shrines together. Like one of my favorite shrines was the Blue Flame Shrine. 'Cause it was one of the few that was really big and long. And had a lot of really interesting puzzles and concepts. Yeah, when I first heard of the Divine Beast thing, I was thinking the Divine Beast would be really big dungeons. Like, I was fine with the fact that there were going to be 4. I was like, Zelda games have had 4 dungeons before. It's not like Majora's Mask is a shitty game because it has 4 dungeons. But, yeah, they were short. The Consolation Shrine is probably my least favorite shrine in the whole game. The puzzle is just not, it's not even an interesting puzzle. It takes forever to figure out because it's so obscure, and I just really did not like that shrine at all. Ice block shrine. No, I thought that was. I I don't remember it exactly, but I think I remember it being pretty easy. Oh, I think I might have cheesed that shrine actually. Or it might have been a similar shrine. I don't know. I don't remember having any particular negative thoughts about an ice block shrine. Yeah, I can understand that, Dr. Lilo. I don't personally have too much of an issue because of the overworld puzzle argument, but I do wish there were less. I think they overdid it a bit. I think there were some shrines that were blessings that really didn't need to be. Oh, now I'm starting to remember the ice block shrine more. I actually like that shrine a lot. That was a good shrine. Yeah, I think there was also too many tested strength shrines. They were really cool at first, but the more I found, the more I was like, really? Like this again? Time to spam spin attack for 2 minutes again. Cool. That was terrible. Oh my god. I understand that, Elite Soba, but I think they could have just made them some of the real obvious shrines. And early on, I think they did. It was like that. Like I remember my first few tests of strength shrines were pretty obvious ones, but then I found like some. I'm pretty sure I found some obscure ones that were minor and medium test of strength or whatever it was. I kind of understand the major test of strengths being harder ones to find, but still too many of them. Yeah, but like I understand the test of strengths being the good at teaching mechanics, and that's really good. I'm not saying they should get rid of them, but like when I was completing my shrines, like when I was, at 80 or 90 shrines and I was trying to find the last of them, a lot of my final few shrines were tests of strength, and those they're not helping me learn at that point. I mean, of course, not all of them should be used for learning. Some of them should be, straight up, hey, here's a hard enemy, fight him. But I don't know. I just think it could have been executed better. I think or at least they could have made the numbers better. Yeah, Eventide Island was really good. That was one of my favorite side quests. Although one minor thing about it that made me somewhat upset, kind of, but also impressed is the fact that you could cheese it by stealing the ball from the Hinox's necklace, which is like, it's cool that it's possible, but it sucks because if you figure out it's possible, then it kind of makes the entire quest significantly less interesting. Because I was like coming up with this whole plan on how to beat the Hinox, and it was really cool, and I, had all my pieces together, and then I stole the ball, and I was like, well, shit, now this is kind of boring. Also, the worst part about it is that when I was trying to get the Hinox medal for killing all of them in the world, I had 39, and I could not figure out which one I didn't kill yet. And it was the Eventide one, because I forgot that I cheesed it. Yeah, I've been ahead pretty consistently lately. I've been playing well lately, it's just dumb stuff keeps happening. I've had a lot of good runs lately. And even this run is kind of mediocre. Very mediocre. Yeah, there's a Talus medal too. And a Molduga medal. Unfortunately, no Lionel medal though. I don't know why they didn't make Lionels the same type of boss as, like, Hinox and Talus's. Really weird. Yeah, they respawn during the Blood Moon. Heavy Metal Mage because I'm busy rolling. If I want to jump slash, I have to cut out a roll. Wait, you can talk to Lionels? Or are you talking about talking to Kilton for the Lionel mask? Oh, okay. Yeah, I bought the Lionel mask, but I never ended up using it. I remember a really long time ago reading posts on various different Zelda fan sites about, like, how people really want to see Lionels in a 3D Zelda. I think it's pretty cool that they're in it and now they're known as like a super hard boss. They did it pretty well. Same Petrie. I really wanted to put that in the stable and also the mountain lord horse or whatever it was. And you can't put that in a stable either. How disappointing. At least you could put the giant horse in a stable. That was cool. I was worried that you weren't gonna be able to put that in a stable, so I was pretty happy you could. Even though it's not very good. What? Wait, what? No idea what happened. I don't know how my side roll angle was completely different. Dance seals were really cool. The best of the 4 areas. I like the Zora's Domain area a lot. Gerudo was pretty cool, probably my second favorite. I actually really liked the whole desert area in general. Like, I was expecting to. I generally don't like desert areas that much. And, I was expecting, big empty desert, nothing to do. There's some stuff to do, but like, I thought they put a decent amount of stuff in the desert where it still felt like a desert, but there was some neat stuff. I think the sand seals made it really good. The Moldugos were really cool. The Moldugos were probably my favorite thing to fight in the whole game. At least early on before I learned how to bomb arrow spam. I mean, even then they were still pretty fun. Like, my first time fighting a Moldugo was really cool. No, I'm not the only person running this category. This is one of the most popular OOT categories. Weirdest shit I've ever seen in this game. Yeah, the Drunia door is definitely one of them. Probably this one glitch where someone was walking around in Lost Woods and then suddenly got teleported to the hole above the rock near the Sacred Forest Meadow entrance. and it basically acted exactly like Death Hole, except you didn't do Death Hole. People think that was probably an emulator only glitch, but we don't know for sure. The Drunia door thing, I have a highlight of it. It's something that happened to me a few years ago where I was just doing some practice in Goron City, and then, you know the statue you pull in Darunia's room to get to Death Mountain Crater? I could just walk through that statue. It just had no collision. And I don't know why. Yeah, it's somewhere in my highlights. Might also be on YouTube. I forget if I actually uploaded it to YouTube. And there should be a video of the death hole thing I mentioned also, but I don't remember the name of it. Yeah, links are fine if they're relevant, which that is obviously relevant. How the run's going? I've had a lot of good runs today, actually. That all die to something stupid. This is not one of them. This is a very mediocre run, but it can be turned into an okay run if I stop sucking at this exact moment. Never mind. That was the latest pause I've ever done. Joe, you start holding left a frame earlier, I think. Something like that. Thanks for the 3 months SSB Gurg PPMD Craigasm. What am I doing? I almost did the wrong setup. Oh no, I missed a Skulltula. It's, I think, 4 ESS turns. Um, yeah, the whole setup uses the initial position angle. So the same angle I get when I start in the area, then a side roll angle, and then keeps that for the rest of the trick. No, this run does not get the Ocarina. Well, the VC route does. The N64 route does not. Yeah, I think 5 minutes sounds about right for this category, for English and Japanese difference. I know back in the day, back in like 2010, before wrong warps, it was timed to be about a 12-minute difference. But that was pre-wrong warps, pre-cutscene skips, which I'm sure cuts the difference down significantly. So I think 5 to 6 minutes sounds about right. Yeah, the save and reset is to make the wrong warp not crash. Please work. Okay. That was really close to failing. I almost went inbounds there. Not for some random reason, just because I didn't hold a certain direction as long as I should have. But it's all good. All worked out. Yeah, this is pretty much the best April Fool's Day prank ever. So clever. When will a good run be happening? You can't rush these kind of things. You can't rush speedrunning. Yes, you can crouch stab and power crouch stab with Deku Sticks. Any sword type weapon, so that includes Deku Sticks, hammer, and the swords obviously. And they all work the same. Although one thing to note about doing power crouch stabs with those items is that your power crouch stab will not only contain the damage of the item you use, but also the properties. So that also means that, like, if you use the hammer and then do power crouch stab with sword, that your sword will have the hammer properties, like being able to break rocks and boxes. And that also means if you swing with the sword and then do power crouch stab with hammer, your hammer is not gonna break rocks or boxes or stuff like that. Same thing with Deku Stick, but Deku Stick properties aren't very interesting. You can't light your sword on fire, unfortunately. I almost slipped off. Good bomb drops. It was either 2 or 3, but it only matters if it's 2. Yeah. It is very unlikely I will ever run A Link to the Past any percent. I mean, I guess technically I have done it. I mean, I guess probably everyone has done a run of Link to the Past any percent. No, I never played Link to the Past randomizer. I actually used to mess around with Link to the Past glitches a lot back in the day, back in like, I don't know, probably 07, 08-ish. It was Link to the Past GBA, but I mess around with lots of Link to the Past GBA glitches. Which are like half the same as original Link to the Past glitches. I did a lot of cool little playthroughs, like you guys know like that up-down thing that isn't technically possible on original Link to the Past, but it is possible on GBA because like you actually can press up and down at the same time on GBA just because of the way the D-pad works. So you could do a lot of that and do like these really crazy playthroughs like reverse dungeon order, and I don't know if I actually did reverse dungeon order specifically, but I did something like it. I forgot exactly what I did. Maybe like low percent. Four Swords Palace stuff. Four Swords Palace glitch runs in that game are actually really cool. The up-down thing, yeah, that was a great description. I think I explained like everything in the last minute terribly. But yeah, okay, so to better explain the up-down thing, in Link to the Past, if you press up and down at the same time, you'll move one direction but face the other. And if you do that while going through a doorway, the screen will wrap the opposite way it's supposed to and take you out of bounds, usually. And so in normal Link to the Past, the only way to do that is with a modded controller, obviously banned. In GBA, perfectly possible with your own GBA because of the way the D-pad works. You just have to press really hard on the D-pad, so it kind of hurts your fingers, but it's completely possible. And so you can mess around with that glitch a lot for very easy out of bounds. And then there's also the mirror glitch, which technically works in original Link to the Past 2, but you have to get hit after doing it. I got a double. I don't know, I probably shouldn't be trying to explain all this Link to the Past stuff because it's been years since I did it. There's probably Link to the Past nerds listening right now that are like, oh my god, this guy is describing everything totally. Oh my god, I'm such a failure. It was a good twinrova too. I have no one to blame but myself for this twinrova. This was not bad luck. This was... Okay, that was kind of bad luck, but that was only like 3 seconds. That was entirely me being a complete idiot. Now I'm probably saving like 15 seconds. I am absolutely a washed up has-been. I mean, just look at me miss the easiest shot on twinrova ever. No one should ever miss that kind of shot. I think I would have been pretty close to my best split there if I didn't miss that shot. Then I would have been 30 seconds ahead. That would have been pretty cool. Now I'm just mad. Speedfrog doesn't really have any context to be used in. It's just the best icon in OOT. So I'm like, dude, Speedfrog or the eyeball frog just looks like such a good icon in OOT. I'm just like, I have to have that emote. I mean, I guess its context isn't 100% when I do eyeball frog early. That's basically it. Or any kind of anytime frogs are brought up. But yeah. Thanks for the 2-month resub. Definitely not, Jesse. You're right. You just got pranked, bro. April Fools. You would resub if you weren't broke. It's alright, man. No need to apologize. It's all good. Oh my god. Oh no. Oh god, this is terrible. Oh no. Yeah, I'm actually super mad about people who don't resub. Are you serious, dude? How can you not give me your money again? What could be more important than me? What could be more important than an emote of a green man? Thanks for the sub, Wonton Violins. I mean, if we're being real, Run Ogre is the main reason most of you guys subbed, right? Well, this is really bad now. Oh, okay. That heart actually fixed everything. The sink. I don't know, Moha. I probably just miss it, but thank you. You subbed for attention like a normal person? Alright, alright. That's cool. Dang, Apasher. Thanks, Patrician. Thanks for the sub, Lansdowne Street. The point of the fish there is when you catch a fish, catch something in a bottle and then do a backflip, press the fish and then something else that Link holds in his hands, you can play an item as a fake ocarina. And by doing that on the edge of the blue warp, that allows you to gain control while the blue warp is supposed to be starting the next cutscene. And then by doing something else to load some other area while the cutscene is starting, it causes a wrong warp or a cutscene skip. In the case of Fire Temple, it's a wrong warp. And the wrong warp with a death goes to Forest Temple. Yeah, that Fire Temple was pretty garbage. And this Forest Temple isn't looking much better to start with. That's nice. My sum of best is barely over 155. It's like 155. Oh, it's right there. It's at the bottom. 155.03. Right, Apacher. At least this fight didn't go the same way as yesterday. That fight was embarrassing. Haha, the heart container joke. I forgot it again. Oh no. Oh. Thanks for the 1,000 bits, Ninja Link. Oh my god. Oh my god, I'm pressing B like a frame early every time. Super early here. Thanks for the bits, anime dude. Dang, look at how much time I would have saved if I didn't screw up that clip twice. Yeah, the jump always looks close, but it's guaranteed. Unless you mess up the setup. Yeah, I can explain that glitch in just a minute. Thanks for the bits, spaceman. Alright, so the way that glitch works is right before I grab the Skulltula token, I press fish, and that delays getting the token until I hit the ground. But once I hit the ground, the Skulltula token's so far off screen that it's unloaded. So as soon as it gets back in range of the camera, it'll instantly give me the token. So what I do is I try to hookshot the tree at the same time as the token gets in range, and I get it. So it interrupts the hookshot, and when the hookshot gets interrupted like that, I get that jump. And the entire purpose of doing that to get fire arrows is because um, I want to do the water medallion cutscene skip. And for a long time, this run didn't skip the water medallion cutscene because one, it made it the perfect time of day for fire arrows, and two, it filled the water in the lake so you could just swim over to it. And so getting fire arrows earlier allows you to skip the water medallion cutscene. Alright, so I actually have a decent amount of time save in trials, 28 seconds. So this run definitely has a good chance of being record. Certainly not guaranteed, but it can be alright. Even with the dumb stuff in this run. Uh, I don't know, Elite So, but one, that's extremely unlikely. I'd have to make less than 7 seconds of mistakes for the rest of the run. Two, I don't know. This can definitely be a low 158, which I said I would be okay with. I don't know. We'll see. I just feel like I can do so much better than this run, but I also... I don't know. I don't want to grind this run to the point where I need to get like some kind of crazy time. But at the same time, it's so hard to quit when I know I can do so much better. Dude, Ganondorf already took over Hyrule. Didn't you see everything he did? He like made redeads in the market and stuff. Yeah, video games. You cannot. Well, it would be GIM, not RBA. But yeah, you cannot GIM 100. You cannot GIM light arrows in 100%. You can in NSR. Hey Fox, thanks. No, if you GIM light arrows and then start the cutscene, nothing particularly interesting happens. Just like normal. I'm pretty sure I get a best split on that split every single run ever by exactly 0.1. Every run I do, I get 0.1 better at that split. Why don't I just do 1500 runs, and then I will have a 1 second MST run? Well, it takes time. Hey. Yeah, man, what's a speedrunner that doesn't choke? That's not interesting. People only watch speedruns for chokes. It's okay, the choke trial is coming up next. Oh no, I just choked. I just choked a whole 2 seconds away. Where's the heart rate monitor? I don't know. I can tell you right now, it's nothing special. Once I lose interest in a run, like when something dumb happens, from that point on to the rest of the run, I like just care about the run so little. Come on. Stupid. The main flubs in this run were twinrova. I missed a shot, which is it was an easy shot. It's not like I missed a shot that was, you know, across the screen, super hard to hit. I missed the easiest shot in the world ever at twinrova, and then I had a super sloppy fire temple and super sloppy going to water temple. And then everything before Spirit Temple in general just wasn't special. There was just like nothing particularly notable. It was just like nothing went particularly well. Oh, I'm always mad. Every second I lose makes me mad. That fire trial was also super sloppy. Well, it was the pause buffering was super sloppy. I paused like what, 6 extra times. I think I'm on pace to save like half of this possible time save. Actually, maybe not even that. Always be angry, that's the secret. No, I don't test. Oh, I was Darkritis. It's been like 9 months and I'm still mad about it. I literally, like, if that didn't happen, I literally would not even consider going back to 100%. I would just be done with it. It'd be good enough. Late split. Trials are included because back when this category was first made, it was just people debating on whether or not this should be considered a dungeon, and most people considered yes. And then eventually all dungeons was made by the people who disagreed, although it took a few years. Oh my god, that was fast. I used to think all dungeons was better than MST, because I thought all dungeons had more interesting tricks, more interesting route, better gameplay to cutscene ratio. But ever since Boat Skip was found, all dungeons became almost exactly the same route, and now I like MST more because it has more content. I messed this up. I don't know if I should bail. I messed up the camera angle on that. I don't know why I switched the camera around. I'm not supposed to do that. The main thing that made all dungeons unique and interesting beforehand was two of the wrong warps it used. It used Deku Tree to Bongo Bongo wrong warp and Fire Temple to Ganon's Castle wrong warp. Both of those wrong warps are just really cool in general. And then the effects it had on the route were pretty cool. You skip Zelda completely, which means the child section was very low on cutscenes aside from Jabu. So it also means no magic. That's like the main stuff. There's some other little things here and there. The way you got into Deku was pretty cool too. But now it's like if you know the MST route, you know the all dungeons route basically. The one difference is you put Deku Tree as the last dungeon and wrong warp from Deku Tree to Ganon's Castle at the end. That's it. And no Zelda, obviously. Thanks for the sub, reinstalled. So now I like MST better because MST just has more content. And MST is now the more unique category, whereas all dungeons used to be the more unique category. I did equip bottle, right? Yeah, I must have. I never forget to equip bottle anymore. Yeah, boat skip basically ruined all dungeons, which sucks because boat skip made MST a lot more interesting. Me is sweating. Yeah, looking at the ground there is to reduce lag. If you look at Ganondorf while he is getting hit with the light arrow, I'm pretty sure it's literally the laggiest thing in the game. I think the frame rate actually dips below half. Like, really below half, not exaggerating. Maybe even less, maybe like a third. It's so laggy. Really? Joke. Stupid. At least I got the double kiss. Oh man, who's hyped for the April Fool's world record? Light arrow there does absolutely nothing. Well, it actually gets rid of the purple magic ring thing that Zelda puts out, which some people have said may or may not reduce lag. I don't think it's ever been proven. I should actually test that. I can test that now with the practice ROM. I should test that. Ranker Z. So who's expecting me to throw the run last minute because this is actually an April Fool's prank? Maybe I should just do that because it'll be funny. Like, I don't even care about this run because it had a lot of stupid stuff. I wonder if it's worth it just to throw it because it'll be funny. I guess if I choke, that's going to be my excuse, is that I did it on purpose for April Fools. Or maybe this run's pre-recorded and I'm just saying this to make it seem real. I don't know, man. You guys actually want me to throw it? No, 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 the speedrunner said. Whoops. Okay, that was 158.20. I accidentally hit minus split. I accidentally hit reset instead of split. But luckily, I got a best split, so it didn't automatically cancel. So yeah, alright, that's cool. So yeah, 158.20. Because I suck. Well, that's okay, I guess. Let's take a look at this run. Beginning was very average. Deku was good. Or no, Deku was bad. Entering Deku was good. And Jabu was good. This part sucked. This part was mediocre. Twinrova sucked even though I saved. I saved 25 seconds and I could have saved 45 because I suck and can't do the easiest shot in the game. Fire Temple sucked. Forest Temple was actually kind of good. Fire Arrow's Water Temple was like half sloppy, half good. Ganon's Castle was meh. The run's okay. Definitely not done with the category yet. I want to get like probably like one more PB. I just want to get 157 or like really low 158. I don't know. If I get like 158.01, I'll probably take it. But yeah, still want to do some more. Blinking